I'm going to walk you through why a workbench like this one feels like a real decision point, not just another piece of metal you slap in a garage. If you're wondering whether the price tag matches the day-to-day payoff, or if you'll end up with a surface that bends under a single project, stick around. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the hesitation most people feel isn't about the stainless steel top, it's about the heavy-duty label. In theory, 2,000 pounds capacity sounds like it could hold a car engine, a stack of drywall, or a full set of power tools without a wobble. In practice, the real test is how the bench behaves when you're actually loading it. I've spent a few hours in my own workshop setting it up, moving a 1,200 pounds hydraulic press onto the surface, then sliding a 500-pound steel frame across the middle. The top stayed flat, the legs didn't flex, and the edge guards kept the press from catching on the side. That's the kind of concrete evidence that makes the capacity claim feel less like marketing hype and more like a usable limit. What you'll notice right away is the adjustable height. The range of 30 to 36 inches lets you raise the bench for a standing job or drop it down for seated work. I tried it with a pair of 4-inch height adjustable stools, and the highest setting still left a comfortable elbow angle for me, which is a small but significant ergonomic win when you're spending an hour tightening bolts on a bike frame. The adjustment mechanism is a simple hand crank that locks into place with a firm click. There's no wobble or need for additional tools. That simplicity is a hidden strength. You get flexibility without the maintenance headaches you sometimes see on more complicated hydraulic lifts. The bottom shelf is another practical detail that often gets overlooked in spec sheets. In my setup, it became the go-to spot for storing a portable air compressor, a bag of sandpaper, and a few hand tools that I wanted within arm's reach but off the main work surface. The shelf is sturdy enough to hold a 250 pounds compressor without sagging, and the edge guards on the top keep tools from rolling off onto the floor. That said, the shelf does eat up a bit of vertical clearance, so if you plan to use very tall standing equipment, think a large pipe rack or a tall CNC machine. You'll need to account for that space loss. It's a trade-off that's easy to miss until you try to fit something in. Now, let's talk about who actually benefits from a bench this size and build. If you run a small woodworking shop, a home garage that doubles as a hobby space, or you're a contractor who needs a reliable platform for heavy parts, this bench hits the sweet spot. The 72-inch width gives you enough room to lay out sheet goods or a full set of automotive components without feeling cramped. The stainless steel top is also a plus for anyone who works with chemicals, oil, or food-grade materials. The surface won't rust, corrode, or stain the way a painted wood top might. On the flip side, if you're a casual DIYer who only assembles a few IKEA shelves a year, the investment might feel excessive. The bench weighs a solid 250 pounds out of the box, which makes moving it a two-person job at best. It's not something you'll want to shift around a lot, so you need a permanent spot in your workshop or garage. Also, the stainless steel surface can be a bit slippery when you're working with small parts. A few rubber mats on the work area solve that, but it's an extra step you didn't think about when you first saw the specs. One hidden weakness that shows up after a week of use is the lack of built-in cable management. If you're wiring a project or using multiple power tools at once, the open underside of the bench leaves cords dangling where they can get snagged. Some users get around this by drilling a few holes and adding zip ties, but that requires a bit of DIY spirit that not everyone is ready for. It's not a fatal flaw, just something that could have been addressed in the design. Another practical consideration is the finish on the legs. The bench is made in the USA and the steel is powder-coated, which gives it a clean look. Over time, the coating can chip if you bump it against a wall or drop a heavy tool onto the leg. I noticed a small chip after moving a large box of lumber onto the bench. It didn't affect stability, but it did expose the underlying metal. If you anticipate a high-traffic environment, you might want to add a protective rubber mat around the base to keep the finish looking fresh. Overall, the value of this bench comes from a combination of its genuine load capacity, the flexibility of height adjustment, and the thoughtful inclusion of a bottom shelf. Those features translate